Test, test, test. Ajam the God. Yeah, you got it. Still got no offer. So I hit the studio after stroking my slaughter. We'd like to welcome Donna Myers here for Trace.
Or on the other side. Aloha mai kako. Let's try that again. Aloha mai kako. Thanks everybody for joining us this wonderful evening. It's May 19th, 2017, the last Friday of many of your school lives. Thank you for spending the time and making a choice to be here. As I know many of you do have choices to do other things, we want to thank you all for making that opportunity to be here, and also for all of the parents and other individuals who are here. Thank you for joining us. It is our 5th annual Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha Symposium. It's an opportunity for us to showcase a lot of the work that has been done over the past 10 weeks from this wonderful group of individuals. Again, with all the people who are here, and also potentially those who will be seeing this either as a live stream, which is live now, and also maybe a little bit later because it'll be recorded, for us to take a look at what we have done and how we can make a difference for our Kamehameha schools. So I want to start it off with this. The saying is here for us to think about why we are doing this. When taking a look at what you guys learn and how you guys learn, I think that it's different because things that were happening and learning that was happening over the course of many of your parents' lifetimes, things are different now. So when looking at this is something that I saw as an important piece, to raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle requires creative imagination and marks a real advance in science. And for us, although many of you who are students may not think it's a science class, to me, a lot of the things that we are doing within our science class includes being creative, being innovative. And through your experiences, I'm hoping that you're able to see the innovation and things that you have done. And here's 2 more sayings that I'll give you an opportunity to take a look at. As you are looking at innovation and the things that you are doing, it's important for us to remember as we are preparing you for positions and jobs that aren't created yet. We're helping you to be able to be scalable and find ways for you to be a better person, whether it's going to be through going to school, whether it's going to be going to work, whether it's going to be starting your family. But finding these things and being problem finders and problem solvers are going to be important. And the other one about once we rid ourselves of traditional thinking, we can get on with creating the future. And although for us as teachers, it's a repeated wheel because you guys are always the same age, yet we're getting a year older. it's important for you to understand that we're hoping to prepare for you in your next steps. And then when looking at our class as our Papa Mālama Honua, Mālama to care for, to attend to care, to conduct a service, all these things of looking at what we have done, and I think we have done a lot of experiences with this, as well as Honua, to care for our earth, the land, our world. And our Papa Mālama Honua has a number of experiences that has helped to make this happen. Now, part of our ideas of who we are, our first initial class had, and all of our students who did get their shirts, powered by Balake, to help to represent who they are. Kaiwa kilo moku, and this is our identity of looking at it from the oceans to the skies, through the maka kua, which is the eyes of the gods are looking over us, the molina lines is helping to guide us, and the peva, which is also looking at the sign of a healer. So all of our students, again, have this. Hopefully, it will make a little bit more sense to you as you are using it. But again, for our class, of figuring out who we are, we definitely have two very, very unique classes. Each different in their own way, each great in their own way, each challenging in their own way. But I think through their journeys, hopefully we're able to shape some of this, and hopefully I can share some of that with you.
We have like responsibility to that place that we like to call our kulaiwi.
Like there's two words to it. There's kula, which is like the land or kind of like the plain of the area. And there's iwi, which is kind of like the bones or like your ancestors or like that connection that you have.
The bones of our people have been here, and they still give that essence that they're underneath us, that they're still rooted in the ground to give back. So we gotta appreciate that.
The land is a part of our identity, and if there's no land, there's no us. We lose ourselves.
They gotta understand they can't just take it for granted and just know, oh yeah, we're Hawaiian. Well, what does that mean? You know, there's a lot that comes with it, and I feel that by singing this song and showing people our love for the culture, hopefully they'll feel the same way.
This is our kulaiwi. This is where we're from, and this is what we are, and this is what we get, and this is what we have to offer.
Mai ka pi'ina ka la iha e hae.
Ai ka mole olu ole hua. E iau ko ka mae. E mamo aloha na halu.
Kuna's all your, my niece, grandnieces are all your age.
So that was some of our journey that we had as a group. And that last bit was our last group that we had an opportunity to take to Hawaii Island. And all of it was the idea of sustainability, the idea of figuring out what sustainability is through our processes, endurance of systems and processes, and through our experiences, we want to learn more ways of doing what we can to be more sustainable. And as it says there from our wonderful sustainability manager, sustainability is about resilience. I think we all owe it to our founder to do whatever we can to ensure that Kamehameha Schools is the most resilient, high-performance organization it can be. And part of it is partnering with Amy Brinker, with the people that we had, and figuring out how we can make these things work. We did it through a lot of experiences, which leads us to our symposium. So the symposium actually represents a culmination of 10 weeks of work. We started before a song contest. We had Amy Brinker and a lot of her friends come in and talk to us, help to establish these kind of things about sustainability. It's a collaboration between lots and lots of people, lots of educators in high school and middle school. We also had opportunities to work with administration, community partners, Flick, who has been a great partner with us, a communications group. We had a number of people come and talk to us and help a number of other ones to work, operations support, and finding ways we can break through current barriers. I think Allison Leary and her group has been wonderful in helping this out, but it was because of all the work that you guys have done as haumana, asking the right questions, doing those things, helped to make these things happen. And the reason why we want to think about this, of why we're doing it, our students need to be prepared for the future. But the challenge that we have is we don't know what our future holds. We have an idea of what it would be like, but if you think about just 10 years ago, things such as these were nowhere to be found. Yet things like this and information technology have changed the way we do work, changed the way we think, and finding ways to prepare our students for this future is challenging. So we don't necessarily know how to prepare them for it. And so what we're doing is our best guess. And the idea for us as science teachers, or in our science department as well, how do we continue to prepare them for these 21st century global citizens? And where do sustainable actions fit in this? So when taking a look at these things, which is pretty funny because before they were 21st century skills, they were 20th century skills. Now they're 21st century skills. Moving into the next generation, they'll be 22nd century skills. But these are key skills that I see as important for us to have and for us to be able to move forward to be successful. And when looking at it, as a science or a science class, a systemic way of approaching these problems to creatively find ways that we can look at innovative solutions, and then finding ways to use the content that we have versus open-ended projects like this, which I can say was quite challenging for all of our students in a number of ways. Not only because they didn't know what to do, but the minute that they did, there were a bunch of adults who got in their way to make things a lot harder. So that's what led to this project. And again, for the 5th year of this, we have, again, another set of problems, another set of challenges. but all based around this one question: how can we make Kamehameha a better place through sustainable practices? And through this process, we were able to take them through research, to find an issue on our campus, to ask questions, iterate, and go over it over and over again, because most of them, and I think they'll talk about it in their presentations, which I have only seen parts of, that they had an idea, but they had to shift, they had to change because of challenges that are sometimes within their control, sometimes outside of it. But the idea was to create and engineer a solution to this situation, to document, report it, and this reporting is what you're going to be seeing. Hopefully it's in a clear, concise manner so everybody can understand it. But we use a lot of things: innovation, technology, finding ways. They've been reporting on, or most of them have been reporting on a regular basis. But daily blogs, Google Docs, Hangouts, other ways of connecting to these people. And then the idea for this is they have to take a look at their solution to see if the solution is actually going to address the problem. And most of them actually just started implementing within a week ago. So it's really hard to tell whether or not this solution that they're presenting is going to be one that's going to be long-lasting and maintained and sustainable. However, nothing is really good 100% the first time. It really isn't. And that's something that school has pounded into them, that everything has to be correct the first time. We're not looking at the assessment of this, of whether or not it's successful. We're looking at the process and taking them to it so they can figure out how to be adaptable and making these things work. Because sometimes the answers that you'll find are going to lead to other questions. And that's what the scientific process is. Now, through this overall process, we took them through a number of things. We helped them to see things and always keeping the marshmallow on top, which means they had to take a look at and making sure they always have the goal of what they're looking at doing and keeping that at the center. So they worked to build something out of spaghetti, pretty well, some of them. But finding ways to go this, it was the first time that they got together to figure out what they were going to do, because they've been sitting on the same table for 3 quarters. They learned each other's names, figured out how each other works, and through this process, hopefully they're beginning to learn what their real life is going to be like, because you can't just sit there and work by yourself. That's not how the world works anymore. It'd be nice if it did. I can tell you in our department, it'd be very, very good if that could happen. But when adults get a chance to work with each other, that's where the challenges happen. But through this process, and again, through Amy helping us with things like the triple bottom line, experiences, discussions, they began to iterate, finding things such as the Aloha Plus Challenge, which was a wonderful opportunity if they got back to us. And as we're taking a look at these things, talking to Kai Waine'e and the operations supports crew through Allison Leary, talking to middle school, finding out ways that they can work in educating our future, our people who are going to be coming up here and being the next leaders of our Kula Ki'eki'e. We had a group who was looking at it and looking through sustainable marketing, went to do her Mālama market, or their group's Mālama market, because they had those contacts and they actually did very good. But right outside is actually another very important piece of us, is the mala that we have, which they totally love to work in when you've given a whole week warning to wear your clothes and show up for. But hey, just saying. But through this, they're learning that things don't always work the way they're supposed to. And growing things is hard. I mean, your tomatoes are finally making, tomato plants are finally making tomatoes. Good job. Kind of, yeah. But this symposium, again, is a celebration of the problem solving that has been going on for the past 10 weeks. 12 groups with 12 problems, some of them very similar, and 12 solutions that were actually independent. And these solutions are going to be the things that they're going to be sharing with you all. So again, some of the outcomes that they have: teamwork and working in groups, which for some was easier than others. We also had an opportunity of building these relationships not only within their group, but with others, as far as other arms of administration and other support systems that make this place work. Finding a way they can actually make a difference in our school. Hopefully they'll be able to leave a legacy, as many of them are going to be heading off in the course of the next week and a half, that they will understand that the path that they're going on and leaving will help to be one that others can follow. But hoping to, again, to make them into these problem solvers and to the future servant leaders that we want them to be. So we want to put into action to observe and pay attention through the EK identity and connection that they make to make the plan. And then they had the courage, as well as being forced to be told to by me, to be here and be able to share it out with you all. So again, I want to leave you with this. When looking at the innovation and the innovative learners that we're having here, innovation is insane by definition. Most people view any truly innovative idea as stupid because if it was a good idea, it probably would have been done already. And not to say that these ideas haven't been done or at least attempted somewhere on campus, but I want to thank all of them who have done this because their path and journey is going to be taking one that can hopefully be a legacy for others to follow in this school. So that's my part. What we're going to be doing is shifting into our first group. So will the first group come on up here while we make our transition?
See that? I see that. Just talk super loud. Hey, so when I'm searching, I'm just back and then you guys just come. This one. This one. Oh, yeah. Okay, practice. So I'm just gonna go like this. Just slide it in.
Ready?
Good evening to the tens of you in the audience and to the tens hopefully viewing on your internet portals. I'd like to thank you guys first of all for coming and joining us at our Mālama Honua Symposium. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as Ho'oulu takes you on our 10-week journey through the Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha project. Our group name is Ho'oulu. Ho'oulu means to provide, furnish, equip, and supply. Kiana and Maka are trusted Hawaiian language speakers, thought of this great idea for a name. I really think that this name fits us well because through our project of cardboard recycling on campus, that is exactly what we are doing. We're equipping and furnishing and supplying the lo'is everywhere with cardboard for their weed mitigation. Our project is about cardboard recycling on Kamehameha. Here is our group. We have me, Kamaka, Dylan Moniz to my far right, Maka Malaysia, and Kiana Davis. So I'd like to turn it over now to Kiana Davis to share about our background, proposal, and problem.
So the problem that our group tried to address was all the cardboard that accumulates on campus. When talking to the janitorial guys, we learned that the only things that were being recycled prior to us starting this project were the stuffs that were put in the green bins that Mr. Slagle takes care of. So with this project, we wanted to mitigate the amount of cardboard waste that KS sends to H Power and subsequently the landfill. So we personally went around collecting cardboard and have been leaving it in a storage area somewhat near Mr. Slagle's room and have the plan to give it to lo'i farmers to use as weed control. So what exactly is OCC? OCC stands for Old Corrugated Cardboard. This differs from regular single-ply cardboard because it has 3 layers, an outer liner, an inner liner, and this fluting in between. The fluting in between is what keeps the cardboard boxes stable and secure. Shipping boxes, pizza boxes, and retail displays are just a handful of things that use OCC. Roughly 1,500 OCC plants are located in the US and Canada, which provide shipping material for 90% of the boxes used within the US. In the US, roughly 24.1 million tons of cardboard is trashed every year. We don't have the exact number of how much cardboard KS trashes, unfortunately, but we were hoping with this project that we'd help mitigate whatever waste that they have.
Okay, so I'm going to be going over our 10-week plan and all the ins and outs of our project. So the first week, our original idea was to do trash segregation, and so what we were going to do was, Dylan and Kama had the idea to segregate our trash into 4 different categories, and we were going to put these bins near main trash bins used around Konea. So we're mainly trying to focus on Konea building. As we moved on to week 2, we're getting more and more into our trash segregation project, and we were able to talk with Amy Brinker and her staff when she came in. But as week 3 came in and our idea started kind of picking up, taking its course, we ran into problems with this idea, trash segregation more specifically. So even though we had problems, we still had a set date for a faculty meeting presentation because it was the last faculty meeting of the year. So we still wanted to present even though our trash segregation idea wasn't really working out at the time. So Kiana and I were able to present at the faculty meeting after the regular day, the last period on the 8th day, in the auditorium to all of our kumu and staff. As week 4 came along, after our meeting that we had on Friday, we had many responses from teachers after speaking at the presentation. So although they weren't able to get back to us at the presentation, we had emails coming in from Kumu Venta, Mr. Slagle was a big help, and Mrs. Chan, because all 3 of these teachers are actually teachers that kind of are in charge of the trash segregation. So those are the kids that you see recycling and coming in to collect the recycle bins on usually Fridays. So they're part of the National Honor Society and the Tree Huggers Club. So they kind of already do this idea. So our 5th week, we weren't able to get in touch with Mr. Slagle, but we were able to talk to his wife, Mrs. Slagle, and she's basically been the recycler person on our campus since the 80s. So she has 30 years worth of knowledge on our specific topic. And it was here that we decided to change our project from trash segregation into more of cardboard recycling and collection, mainly because we just decided trash segregation was kind of too much of a bigger task for us. And after sitting down with Amy and her team, she gave us an idea that we could take the cardboard and donate it to a lo'i for them to use to lay down after the weeding process to keep all the weeds down. So at week 6, our recycling project finally started. We were just trying to figure out the ins and outs of everything. We were able to contact Amy Bringer, Krista Collins, who works at Akahi, and Cynthia Sailua. So the 7th week, Krista Collins, we were able to go down to Akahi and meet with her and see if we could take the cardboard from Akahi, because everything that comes in through Akahi comes in a cardboard box. And produce comes in, or all the food comes in, it comes in cardboard. So that Akahi was really one of the main producers of cardboard here on our campus. So we started to slowly get our collection to move. Week 8, we weren't able to collect cardboard from Akahi or the copy center down at Kekuanao'a. So we didn't want to just have nothing. So individually, we went around to each classroom, and we kind of just took what we could get and asked our kumu, if they had any cardboard to recycle. So the Slagles gave us a closet for us to store all of our cardboard at. So during our classes, we'd go around to different classrooms and different kumu and ask them for their cardboard, if they had any. and we'd store it there. After week 9, Amy Brinker was able to help direct us to another contact, Taylor Kellerman, who is actually the leader of a lo'i down in Hakipu'u that we will be donating our cardboard to help them in their means of keeping their weeds down at bay.
So what did we end up doing? And the trials and tribulations of our project. Through this project, we learned a lot. We did run into a lot of speed bumps and a lot of walls along the way, but we did learn a lot. We learned how to communicate with each other, teamwork, and we learned that if we make a mistake or if we have a failed plan, we just got to keep trying to get our plan to work. I really credit this project to the Slegos. They were like our pinnacle, our most important piece in our project. They directed us what to do. Mrs. Slego, we had like about a 45-minute conversation with her right by her tie-dye area, and she told us exactly what to do, where to go, and we did exactly what she said, and our project is working perfectly with that. Before, we had our trash segregation idea, and it didn't really work out, so through that, we just had to keep trying to get new ideas, and we found that, and we just, like Kiana Davis, she emailed a lot of people. A lot of emails were sent out to like get our project going. Unfortunately, we didn't get the response as fast as we wanted to, or the responses, which kind of slowed down our project. But now we got our responses and it's picking up. Our cardboard around the campus is picking up. And so me and Dylan and Maka, our job was to go and get the cardboard. We would travel around campus just asking random kumu, just like, oh, if we could borrow your cardboard for, or if we could take your cardboard. And we like set up times, and our period we would go and get cardboard from the SPC, from the Social Studies Department, from Hawaiian Ensemble. And they were big helps. Our cardboard closet is almost full, or halfway full, and it's pretty impressive. Well, this was only the beginning. Like we started with like 30 pizza boxes, and then it's slowly starting to move. And then, yeah, we're just like every day during class we just go out and get it, and hopefully Taylor Kellerman can come through and pick it up for us. Actually, like our awareness on campus for cardboard and trash mitigation is like picking up, because we went to Smith office, me and Dylan, and we talked to them about their cardboard and we could use it. So like my dad got a call like during the day at work that they have cardboard for us, but like unfortunately they called my dad, which wasn't me. So, but I mean, at least they called. So that's good that they're aware of their cardboard that needs to be used, and we can use it through our project.
Okay, so how successful were we in our project? So after getting in touch with all the people and getting all the emails that we needed, we got the one response from Taylor Kellerman, who was the one person that really wanted to help us make a difference with our project. And so that's a picture of the cardboard that we have. It's about halfway to the roof of that closet. But Taylor Kellerman, who has the lo'i in Hakipu'u, really wanted to help and come and collect it. So we decided that after like collecting all the cardboard, we would set up a time with Taylor so that he could come in and pick it up and use it for his lo'i. So his lo'i in Hakipu'u, it hasn't been cleaned for over 30 years. It was just standing terraces. And so after cleaning the lo'is, they noticed that the weeds would grow back really quickly. And with weed mitigation, putting the cardboard on top of the weeds would keep the growth down, and it would really help. So, and so, basically, we just went around to like the SPC, and the SPC was given cardboard from the convention center. So at the conventions, they have like giant pieces of cardboard that are like 8 feet long, and they just stack them up. And so what we did was we went to the SPC and asked the kumus if we could use it, and they decided to let us like slowly collect more and more. And so as we collected them in the room, we just started piling them up, and Taylor Kellerman was the one to come through and help us out.
So all the members in our group are seniors, meaning that our time here on the Hill is coming to an end. However, we want this project to be long-lasting and have a legacy for us. We're currently in the process of connecting with other individuals besides Taylor Kellerman who are interested in using cardboard to keep the weeds at bay. And we're also trying to get in contact with the tech guys because come August, when laptop rollouts happen, we noticed last year that hundreds of boxes are just put to the side and thrown away. So we're hoping that if we can connect with them and someone else will continue this project for us, that the cardboard trash that KS currently sends to H-Power will no longer be a thing. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Thank you.
Dude, I got a tippy toe just for being seen over there.
Huh.
How you put the thing down?
Just use that one. Or are you sure for that one too?
I'm sure for both.
I just ain't sure.
How you make the mic? Put the mic down.
No, that one you just want to talk into it. Just like project it to it.
That's not ours, yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
wrong one.
it's a keynote. That must be ours.
Oh, wait.
Yes. You can introduce us.
Forward, back.
Whoever has it.
Kira.
We can see this.
You have the clicker.
Thompson has it. Talking to Mike now?
Yep. Get over beforehand.
Whoever's going next, stand by Mike.
When you're ready.
Aloha. Our group is For the Boys, and my name is Noah Thompson. This is Kaimana, Nathan, and Trevor. The meaning behind our group name is because this project isn't mainly for us, it's for our campus. So, you know, For the Boys. When we first started this project, Kumu asked us, how could we make this campus a better place? Not a better place as in like, you see trash, go pick it up, yeah, you should do that, but how we can make this campus more sustainable. So in doing that, we had to create a website, do daily blogs, and come up with an idea of how our group and as individuals we could make the campus a better place.
So sparking our project idea, prior to meeting with Amy Brinker, we had to create a bug list, which is all the problems we noticed on Kamehameha schools. And for our group, that went absolutely fail, because from this project, you have to learn to start small and build upon that. Our group, we started big, and yeah, it just turned out impossible. So we really had to thank Amy Brinker for really sparking our project idea. With the meeting in her, she asked us, what does it mean to be sustainable? And giving us the answer, she said, in order to be sustainable, you must meet these 3 needs. One is so she drew out the triangle. The top was, it had to meet the needs of the people. The other corner was, it had to be like affordable and able to do. And the other, it had to be good for had to be good geologically or for the environment. If it didn't meet one of them, your project would fail no matter what. So you have to ensure that.
After Amy Brinker's talk with us, we had a lot of ideas going about what our project should be about. One of our top idea was a new design for uniforms. All of us thought that our uniforms were kind of plain and simple, and we all should have like a new design that shows more about us as Hawaiians, probably some Hawaiian print, but we actually had a better idea that we knew would be more sustainable.
After meeting with Amy Brinker for the first time, she came and spoke to us about how 2% of Kamehameha's land, Kapalama land, is used for agriculture, and how 1% is used for educational agriculture. And after hearing about that, it kind of sparked our idea to maybe revitalize some of the native plants that grow here, like lehua, ava, all kinds of stuff that grow here. And so after meeting with Amy Brinker, we took a survey, and I think we're going to be moving on to that part right now.
So the project we decided on was to create a decorative garden that could be used by performing arts classes such as Hawaiian chant and dance and ensemble. And so our problem here was our students that needed like plants to make leis and hakus. They needed to go all around campus to pick their plants, and here on campus, like the students aren't even supposed to be touching the plants. So yeah, like if they wanted plants, they would have to ask Uncle Kai Waina and their team to go and pick them for them. So what we were thinking was make a garden near performing arts so they could just go right outside and pick the plants that they needed.
So as we got our project idea going, we were fortunate to meet with Uncle Kaiwa and them and his land division or operations support team. After proposing our idea to him, we gained the support of them. He said he would help out Choke, providing all the tools we would need and keeping basically our costs down to 0. And then our next steps for planning was taking our measurements, making sure we know where each plant would be, and yeah.
This is the courtyard that we wanted to use to plant our decorative plants. The courtyard is actually located right by the performing arts building, which is right here. So they can just step outside and there would be a whole garden. That's what our idea was. We chose this place because it's a large space that you can plant a lot of different ferns and plants and trees. It's also easy access for students to go to. They don't have to climb big areas or hike deep in mountains to go looking around for the plants that they need. Also, it's a good area to, for plants to grow because the sun hits it a lot, and it's just an open area that can get good breeze and what plants need.
So in order to make our proposal to Kumualika and Uncle Kai, we first need to get the measurements of the courtyard in order to have like a place or to show them like where we would plan on planting. So us and a few other groups, because originally we were going to collaborate with them too, went out and measured the courtyard.
as our project started to get rolling, this is where we basically hit rock bottom as a collaborative group. So our first meet with Kumualika, he absolutely denied our proposal as a collaboration group, mainly because of the amount of space we needed and the amount of equipment. He also told us that a project of turning that courtyard into what's the word for it? Theater area. It has already been sent in, so he's waiting for that to be approved. So that's when we got denied. So instead of giving up there and trying to find a new spot, my group and I, we decided to go back to Kumualika and ask him to use the upper level, redoing our proposal, making sure that everything is there. And the second time, he actually denied it again, which was pretty salty. Mainly because our proposal wasn't in depth as we needed it to be. Originally, we only had prices. We didn't even have an outline of where all the plants were gonna go. And that's why he kicked us to the curb. And so we had to go back to class and back to the drawing boards. And finally, with our third attempt, Kumualika finally accepted us. And we actually went outside to the garden, and he pointed out other areas that we can use, smaller areas that we can build upon, as well as give us a look into the future to where other students can as well.
So, okay. So that area, the red square or the red rectangle, is actually right outside of the Performing Arts building on that upper level, and right there is actually where we started planting all of our stuff, and we got approved for the plants. We got approved for the plants up there because it gets a lot of sun and sometimes there's shade, which some plants might need. It also rains a lot near the Performing Arts area if you haven't noticed, and especially during the summertime. But yeah, should we go to the next slide? So we got started planting, and here are some of the plants that we got to plant.
When did you start planting? A couple hours ago.
We started planting at during 6th period, so.
During lunch? So some of the plants that we have featured in the garden is ali'i, ava, loa'e, lehua, plumeria, red ginger. We don't have all the plants planted right now, but those are some ideas that we have. We also made a book too that has all the plants that we want or that we hope to see in the garden. It has a picture of it along with its scientific name, other names. We also have the traditional Hawaiian uses that were used back in the day, and then also more information of the best time to plant it and how it grows and cool facts about it. Yeah, those are the other plants, the lehua, palapalai, melia, and red ginger.
So the future of this project, or our long-term goals, what we hope to see, is that it maintains a sustainable thing, bringing back the fact that us as Hawaiians, we take care of the land and the land will provide for us. And that's what we want to keep this. Thus also turning this school, which was mainly our focus, or our main focus or goal throughout this whole project, was making Kamehameha a Hawaiian school rather than just being a school for Hawaiians. That's a good turning point that helped us. We help perpetuate the Hawaiian culture by doing so. And then, so the kokua plan going into this project, we kind of replicated it from the Kamehameha School's 4th grade class. So every summer they would have them come in, they would take care of the garden, plant more maybe and all that. And then if students do choose to continue our legacy, in our book there's also provided areas that they can build upon. So there's a side wall that you can do, or you can do underneath the stairs, which is great places for planting ava and other plants. And hopefully by maybe 10 years or so, this binder will be a lot more full than what it is now, because we hope to see a lot more native plants here at our Kapalama campus. Oh, and we would also like to give a big shout out to Kumu Amy Brinker for basically being our main driving point in this whole project. We also like to thank Uncle Kai them for providing us the support we needed to carry out our project. Kumu Kalea and Kumu Alika for giving us all of our information and the plants that we needed. Mr. Dong for helping us create our book. And lastly, Kumu Blake for probably denying us the most and making us having to redo everything. But it came out good.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, are there any questions?
Good.
Yeah. Where is
Matthew Io, where are you? Should we call him? Way to start off.
Oh, we're doing the picture. Okay. What's up, everybody? Our group is named Mālama Namoku. This is Matt. That's Ashley, and this is Kamehameha. Where's this? Oh, I'm Kiai.
So I wanted to introduce everybody to our Weebly website. This is where you can kind of contact us and just see what we've been doing over the past few months. And we update our blog daily with our blogs, and this is it kind of shows like our plan and what we've been doing. So before we, are you going to introduce the book? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so the first thing that we needed to identify was the plan of action or course that we were actually going to take to fulfill and complete this project. So the main thing that we needed to look at first was our bug list. And basically what this bug list was is we really had to think about all the things on campus that bothered us. So this started from anything that we saw on campus that we didn't like, we wrote down. And then what we did is we lowered it down to like what we thought that we could accomplish and what pertained mostly to nature, because we felt like making this campus better would start with the land. Would start with the land in comparison to another type of project. So once we all came up with ideas that we wanted to fix, we needed to brainstorm with each other and see how everyone felt, or like which topic we felt would be most important to us to fix. So once we identified the problem that we wanted to tackle. That's when we had to start doing the work, and it was a little taxing because we had so many different ideas and places that we wanted to take this, but the thing that we had to focus on is, again, because we didn't have that much time, we needed to understand that whatever we started, that we would be able to finish. So that was our big thing. So we actually, at the beginning of this project, we wanted to do a focus on the sprinklers that are on campus, because we would notice that sometimes they would actually be watering like the cement or the roads, so that's ineffective and a waste of water. So we also noticed that when it was raining, sometimes we would still see the sprinklers on, so we realized that that was a waste of water again. So that was initially where we wanted our project to go, but through planning, we decided to take it to another place, which is more so working with the group before us with the native plants.
So the reason why we chose this project was because we kind of noticed that our school was wasting a lot of water. So the sprinkler systems could have been a lot more effective, but they weren't. And one of the guest speakers, Amy Brinker, I want to introduce her, is because she really introduced us to what our school wastes on a daily basis through energy, food, and water. And what really stood out to us was our water waste, and we really wanted to find something that we could do to fix that problem that we had. And by looking at the numbers, we could see that our school wasted an unnecessary amount of water, especially money on water. So we decided to focus on the water sprinklers on campus, and we kind of expanded on that with her on whether we should go with that or not. And then the main problem was that we wished to fix the sprinkler systems on campus, and our campus is trying to conserve water, so we wanted to come up with a solution to do that. So during the school hours, sometimes the water sprinklers can go off, which isn't necessarily the best because it shouldn't be going on throughout the day. It should be going on throughout like late night or early morning. And many students will notice that obviously the sprinklers are not angled at the right places, and they're not necessarily spraying water on grass. They're also spraying water on concrete and the sidewalks, and we're really concerned about that, and we wanted to do something about that.
Okay, so our hypothesis was pretty simple. We sort of veered away from our first idea, which was the sprinkler systems, and trying to get away where we could re-angle the sprinklers so that they wouldn't be watering the cement or anything. Because after we talked to Uncle Kai Waine'e, he brought a lot of awareness to our eyes that when we saw the sprinklers watering the pavement, it was probably because it was a malfunction, he said, so not really anything we could do there. And he said that they also water the plants around 4 o'clock every morning, so that eliminated our other idea of changing the time that the sprinklers went off. So our hypothesis is that we think that if we add a water system to the Performing Arts Area Garden, it will provide our campus with more of our native Hawaiian plants while conserving as much water as possible. Okay, so our communication started with the head of grounds. So we needed to compare the old and the new sprinkler systems. So like I said, we had to figure out the time zones that they were going off and the amount of sprinklers on high school campus, because at the middle school, they have a system where it actually catches all of the rain that falls the day before. So if there's too much water in the system, then it'll malfunction the whole system and turn it off so that you don't have overwatering and a waste of water. But that's only located on the middle school campuses, so we were going to try and see if we could implement that in the high school and even the elementary areas. And then we also wanted to focus on what locations at the high school we could work on, being that we're always here, it helped us to see what areas needed the most work. And so how we can help again is what our main focus was, trying to figure out the places we wanted to work and how we wanted to have it work out.
So for this portion, we had to kind of conduct our own research. We kind of had to look online to figure out like how we can really sustain the water on campus. So we also had to, of course, speak to the groundsmen, and we got information from them. But also with that, we had to look for like other sprinkler alternatives versus the ones that they were using already. So we kind of looked up for like rain sensors and how well they would help with the sprinklers that we have on campus, because rain sensors, they kind of determine whether it's raining or not, and they'll turn off the sprinklers automatically to make sure that we're not wasting unnecessary amounts of water. And from the research, we also had to look for data. And for this, we had to kind of look on our main high school campus, preferably upper campus, because we wanted to focus on the amount of sprinklers that were in these certain areas, like Ka'ahumanu, Konia, Performing Arts, Haleakala, and the girls' dorm. We also had to look for the sprinklers, the time zones of what times they go off, but the amounts of time that they do go off is actually pretty okay. It's pretty healthy. But we noticed that the performing arts area, they don't have any sprinklers, so we kind of wanted to look into that and possibly change that area and put in our own sprinkler system.
All right, so with the changing ideas thing, we ended up creating a sustainable sprinkler system with 4 hoses and a faucet timer. So with that, that's where we're gonna be working with the other group. We have a long hose going along the edge, and with the hose, we ended up cutting it up, and we have it spraying up into the whole area. It worked pretty well because with the amount of pressure that was used against, that was pushed with the hose, it would fill up the whole area, and it wouldn't be used, like it wouldn't spray the cement or anywhere else that it wouldn't be needed.
Equipment. So here's our 4 hoses and faucet timer. So the faucet timer is just, there's 2 systems, left and right, and then this is where we would plug the hoses in, set the timer when you want it to go off, and then you could set it like a couple hours a day or each and every other day. And yeah, that's it.
So during this week, we ended up setting up our system. So what we did was we found a spigot at the bottom of the wall, and we ended up plugging in the faucet timer, as you can see on the far right, and we ended up setting it up to 4 o'clock in the morning every day for 5 minutes, and it would just, the way we cut it ended up spraying a light mist. And as you can see at the bottom on the left, we didn't want to just leave it where the water would just run, so we ended up cutting off the circulation, so right at the end it would just not waste water. Oh shoot.
I got it. I'll just talk about. So did it work? Yes, it did. It was pretty successful. It was pretty successful, not gonna lie. We were stoked. It was difficult cutting it at first, trying to poke through the holes, but we had to just keep digging, and eventually we got it. At first, all the holes we cut, I think, were a little too small, so it was like gushing really high, and we had to make it bigger. So right now, the length, the height of the water is pretty good, and it covers pretty much the whole area of plants. So yes, it works good.
So in comparison to how we used to water the area up here, because I'm in Hawaiian Ensemble, Kumukaleo would have whoever was late to class or whoever he was mad at for the day fill up a bucket and then take it up to the, walk up the stairs, jump onto the wall, and then have to hand water it. So this actually eliminates that whole thing now. So yeah, yay. But it actually benefited not just that, but the fact that now there's a system that can actually be here for years to come. So we were really happy about that.
So yeah, it worked. Our improvements that we have to make, we wanted to ended up making it longer to go all the way to the end of the whole area. So we would have to get more hoses and more time to end up cutting more holes into the holes so they can water the whole area. Other than that, that was pretty much what we needed to improve. We learned that it was important to live more sustainable lifestyle on campus and how achievable it can be, because it was fairly pretty easy to grab 4 hoses and a faucet timer and poke holes into a hole. So really with our project, we just found that with communication and teamwork, it can really work. The legacy we're gonna leave behind, with the faucet timer, it's really durable and we can end up using it for a really long time. So people don't really have to man it because it's just gonna go off whenever we set off the times. But the way that we could take care of it is people could check on the faucet timer to see if it's actually still running, and see if the holes that we cut into the hose is actually spraying to where it's supposed to be spraying, not off into the cement where we first started doing it, but we ended up angling it to where it could water everything that it needs to be watered. Okay, mahalos.
Thank you.
We're all one part way.
So
you two are introducing
all my group come by me, okay? I have a car. Or go to
4 and 5 together. 4 and 5 together. So only one. You don't come up. Hello. Because you guys have to break. 4 and 5. 4 and 5. So all this for this group, this gigantic massive group is going to be one.
No.
They're going to be under. They're going to be
Rangers on the other side.
Group 4 and 5.
Excuse me.
Kuleana Rangers.
Aloha, everybody. So we're the Power Rangers, us four. I'm Nicole. This is Kukui, Maverick, and Shane.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ruthie. This is Kehu, Brevin, and Hunter. And we are Kuleana no Kapa Lama. A little bit behind our name, Kuleana no Kapa Lama, or responsibility for Kapa Lama. We just really felt that as students here, we do also carry a responsibility for this campus and just taking care of it and taking part in sustainable practices. It's just kind of like the ideology of like to whom much is given, much is expected. So we felt that that was a fitting name for our group. So yeah.
And together we're the Kuleana Rangers.
So we took a class this year called Mālama Honua instead of physics. And this class is an environmental science class, which teaches us to integrate sustainable practices with our Hawaiian values. This class teaches us how to be conscious about the health of the world around us and how to be successful in both modern and traditional practices. For our fourth quarter, we were given the assignment or our final project called Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha. And with each quarter, we were learning about new subjects like food, farming, and vai. And for this fourth quarter, we were given the task of how to make Kamehameha a better place by implementing what we learned through sustainability, and helps us to be critical thinkers after we graduate in life. High school.
So our main problem was energy waste, and it was a very long process to come up with this problem. And
so the process to get to this problem. So for the Power Rangers, before we were called the Power Rangers, we were called the Sustainabros, and Sustainabros because yeah. So yeah, like every other group, we made the bug list, and then our first bug thing was food waste down in Akahi, and for a couple, maybe a week and a half, that was our main focus, and then eventually we kind of met with Amy Brinker and her colleagues, and then that's where we got the idea of energy waste on campus. So to start that, and then that's how the Power Rangers were formed. To start that, we met with this guy named Aaron from the Maui campus, and he gave us the idea of, Austin, my bad, and he gave us the idea of this device called kilowatts and timers. And originally, we were gonna put those on the AC units and on top of the lights to make sure that the lights go on and off at certain times so that they're not like being left on overnight, so no one's using them, waste energy. That's where we found out after our interview with the blue shirts that they already do that. So our whole project kind of went down the drain. We were in scrambles, we didn't know what to do. And then that's where we got the idea of the Power Rangers. Changed our website name, everything, and then, yeah, these are our badges right here. So that's the 4 badges, and then, so now what our new plan of attack was to go around to each classroom during when we can meet up, see if the classroom's in use, if the AC is on, lights on, doors open,
you know, why is the door open when the AC is on, just wasting more electricity. And then we'd close the door, or if the classroom was empty but everything was on, we would turn it all off. And yeah, that's how we figured that out.
So like the Power Rangers, our group, Kuleana no Kapalama, also had an original idea that we ended up changing. But we started off with our bug list, and that had a lot of things to do with like our land use here at Kamehameha. And our original idea was to start using KS lands, and even outside of just this campus alone, even to like the ag lands that aren't in use around the island, and how can we use those to provide for our campus and what we're eating at Akahi, and even, you know, we could sell in farmers markets just to better the community and our school. But we did come in or encounter a few roadblocks because it was hard for us to like find a way to do that on a small scale, because obviously 4 kids can't do that in the time that we had, you know, start growing loads of food. So it was kind of a godsend for Amy Brinker to come to our class, because I was just super overwhelmed and I didn't know how the heck we were gonna implement our project. And so when Amy Brinker was sharing about just the different problems that we have on campus with sustainability, one of the things that she said that really stuck out to me was the energy use. And like Maverick said, how, you know, all of us here have walked by a classroom or office so it's completely empty, but the AC is on at 60 degrees and all of the lights are on. And just like, why is that? Or, you know, you walk by a classroom and you feel the nice cool breeze, but like, is that a good thing? Like the door should be closed, you know, because we're losing all of that energy. So that was one thing that really stuck out to me. So Amy Brinker actually came over and started talking to our group, and I told her our original project, and it was, I think she could kind of feel that we weren't really sure about it anymore. And so she said, well, how do you feel about changing what you guys are doing? And so immediately I was like, yes, I loved the energy idea. I want to do that. I'm 100% on board. And so I talked to my group, and we all just really clung on to the idea. And so then we looked into like, how would we really impact our school's energy usage, because it is a huge issue here. And like, what's the heart of the issue? And I think the heart of the issue really is people's awareness. And, you know, it's really easy to waste all of our energy and leave the lights on if we're not paying for it. So really just bringing the awareness to everyone, like how much are we really spending a day? And so yeah, that's how we got to our energy usage.
Okay. So for the where, what, and why, we decided to focus, at least for this portion of the project, on Konia building, because it is like the main building of Upper Campus, and there are a lot of classrooms with a lot of the energy and power being used. And we also thought that we couldn't really do the rest of the campus because it was like really, really big. So for now, we just like focused on Konia building, and we also focused on the AC usage and electricity, so like the lights in every classroom, because it was true that a lot of electricity was being used even when rooms weren't occupied, and the AC was like really freezing even if no one is in there. So we focused on the AC and the light usage, and why is because like a lot of money was being used towards that even if we weren't using it. So we decided that if we focused on that and like brought awareness to that, then we could like save money and use that money towards other things that we actually need for whatever it is for the school.
Okay, so here is a graph that Allison Leary gave us, which is the head of operations here at Kamehameha Schools. And this is a line graph of Konia building during the week of April 23rd to the 29th, 2017. And every line represents a day in the week. And as you can see, the 2 lines that are the lowest are Saturdays and Sundays, which are the days that school isn't present. And then the highest line is Thursdays, interestingly. And
The Wednesdays rises the highest and drops the fastest by the end of the day, and Tuesdays rises the slowest in the beginning and drops middle of the day, and the other days are consistently similar. And these are the kilowatt usage per hours, and it goes from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and that's the middle of the school day. And the second graph is a electrical usage profile monthly for the Kunio building, and it shows every month and how much kilowatt per hour usage per that month. And obviously the 2 months that are the lowest is June and July because it's summertime. And the highest is August and September when school is just starting. And if you break it down, it's averaging about $200 a day in electrical usage. And our goal is to try and bring down these bars to save more money to be used for other things that we would like to be used for.
What is the cause of our problem? So our cause is human error. And human error is because they're not aware of how much energy they're using. And a lot of it is because they don't pay for the energy themselves. And I think, or our group thinks that we should spread awareness by communicating to others and to corporations, and to change mindsets by making everyone think sustainable. You know.
When I met with Kumu, Allison, Larry, the head of operations, I presented to them the idea of the timers, and they told us in the future they were going to already do that. So that was the part when my group was wondering, okay, what do we do now? And so what she suggested was to raise awareness, and she liked our idea, an idea that was suggested to us called Power Rangers, where we go around and similar to our data taking before, where we used to see which rooms had lights and AC on and off, we would go around and tell the teachers our class, which is Mālama Honua, what our project was, which was Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha, what we support, which is saving energy, and our hopes, which is to change mindsets and habits of keeping things on and wasting it, encourage saving, and community cooperation from student level all the way to operations, where they also help to remind teachers with notes, oh, you left your lights on. Please turn it off the next time you leave. And to remind that if we don't need it, don't use it.
So my group, Kuleana no Kapalama, we met with the KS communications guy, Kyle Caldera, and he talked to us about how we could spread the word through social media. So we created a Instagram page, Kuleana no Kapalama, and we got some followers. And we post stuff like telling people that we spend on average $200-something on this building alone, just on electrical usages. And we also created posters to poster on Konya building that has this information, and also tips on how to save energy, such as turning off the lights and using natural lights like the sun. And we also we also decided like a good idea was closing the doors when the AC is on, or when it's like normally we're freezing in class, so like we don't even need the AC. And we also have a Weebly page, which is like just a class web page that we put daily blogs and all kinds of information on.
So 2 weeks ago, I believe, Mr. Blake had us kind of check in with the class and kind of explain to the other groups what we're really doing, because really nobody really paid attention to the other groups, what they're doing, because this is such a big project. Focus on yourself. So I think like 2 weeks ago, when we shared, our tables were right next to each other, not knowing that we're pretty much doing the same project. And so we kind of both heard that we're doing the same thing and kind of collaboratively came together and said, like, our biggest problem is awareness. And kind of we just really need to get this campus all on the same board of sustainable thinking and just bringing awareness to the students and teachers that use these classes, because Kamehameha students and teachers are spoiled here. Look at all this stuff. We're using mics speaking in this presentation. I mean, and we don't realize the stuff that Kamehameha has provided us and how much it costs. And same thing. And so, like we said in the beginning, our purpose is to save that money and use it on different purposes to kind of help us benefit our learning education throughout Kamehameha schools. And so our data, so as Power Rangers, we kind of took hand data, and this is kind of what our chart looked like. So we manually went to each class and opened the door and checked if the AC and lights were on, and then if there's teachers or students in there, and then those classrooms that leave their door opens or there's no use, like we took down those notes. And so we kind of saw some trends. A typical class that we usually see that's not in use, that uses the lights and AC, they leave it on, is the math classrooms. And so I believe it was 3 weeks ago where we actually got to meet with those teachers in their office. And we kind of just talked about our project and let them know that, hey, we see that your guys' classroom is always the one that leaves their lights and ACs on. And it kind of just wastes a lot of energy. So as our group, we kind of just continuously just brought awareness to them. Comments and thoughts back. There was one teacher that really didn't like our project, and his name is Kumuchan. And so he leaves his lights and AC on during his class, and he's always in there, but he leaves his door open. And so we kind of try to get across to him, but he's one of those guys that is really hard to get across to. And so it's just people like that. We kind of try to just bring awareness of just, we got to save money. so yeah. And so the future for our whole Kuleana Rangers is kind of just find ways to improve this, to like change their mindset. We're thinking of kind of starting at the younger age, like making signs down there, like turn off the lights when you leave, simple stuff like that. And then we want to find another group that we can pass this on to continue this simple thing of just telling people, oh, you left your lights on, and just the process of that. And so hopefully this can help with the future education. And mahalo. Anybody have any questions?
Aloha. Oh. Aloha. I'm Caleb. This is Sheldon and Gabby. And our project is Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha. So teenagers like us go through a rapid growth cycle, which requires a lot of food for our brains and body, but not all food is created equal. Some of the common things that teenagers love to eat are unhealthy frozen pizzas, Hot Pockets, French fries, Frappuccinos, and monster drinks. According to a 2007 Centers for Disease Control study, less than 1 in 10 teenagers consume the minimum recommended amount of fruits and vegetables each day, leaving most kids undernourished. Interestingly, our school does not provide students with a lot of nutritious foods outside of our cafeteria, which leaves students dependent on the sugary treats we get from vending machines, food trucks, and drink stations that come to our campus. The fast food options have become so accessible that many of us don't take the time to walk to the dining hall. Instead, we indulge in the unhealthy options because it's fast, convenient, and affordable. We believe that students deserve a wider variety of healthy choices, preferably local organic foods that actually provide the proper nutrients we need to fuel our growing bodies. Now you might be thinking, what does this have to do with sustainability principles and the concepts we learned in our Mālama Honua class with Mr. Blake? Well, believe it or not, the food you eat in our entire food system is directly related to many of our social, economic, and environmental sustainability issues. For example, did you know that the average vegetable you eat has to travel over 1,500 miles to get to you from a farm? That's a lot of fossil fuel being used for that one apple.
A recent study about climate change found that greenhouse gases emissions from all livestock is more than all the combined CO2 gases emitted from every car, bus, truck, boat, ship, and plane in the entire world. Also, did you know that the increase in meat consumption in America has caused the desecration of many of our forests around the world, which has caused near extinction of many of our beneficial insects and animals? Why? Because they need to clear the lands to raise to raise more cattle and livestock to meet our excessive demand of meat. And what about the health implications? In 2015, studies published in a morbidity and mortality weekly reports, they said, diabetes is a major public health problem that disproportionately affects Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders, and found their diet played a significant role in their risk level. And guess what their suggestion was to help reduce our health ailments? Yep, eat more plant-based foods. Interestingly, this year, a Mālama Honua class was asked to complete a Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha project by coming up with an idea to help make Kamehameha a better place. And we thought, why not focus on the health and wellness of our bodies, which ultimately helps to sustain our aina and lahui. So we came up with a plan to create a student-operated farmers market food stand. Our vision was to improve the health and well-being of all Kamehameha students by providing healthy snacks and food alternatives, which are mostly locally grown on our campus or in Hawaii. Our project goal was to create and fund a small farmers market food stand on campus to promote a healthier diet for Kamehameha students, making healthy alternatives easily accessible, while proving a venue for students who grow and manage malas on campus or at home to sell their produce and products.
So to ensure that we were making a good decision, we decided to do some research. So we attended multiple farmers markets, and we even had the opportunity to interview Mr. Paul Isaac, a local musician, farmer, businessman, and the VP of the Waimanalo Farmers Union, who sells his produce every weekend at the Kailua Farmers Market. He thought our idea was a good one, and he gave us some good advice. Here's what he had to say. Oh.
You and your classmates taking this on is so commendable, because to remind ourselves that, you know, food is of such value in this time. Like, it really is important, especially conscious food from the land, local food. So for you guys to take that on and to be like, hey, we can make a product with local produce and offer it to the community, and then there's a natural energy received in a market, right? So it's money coming in so that you can share your services, and that's how a lot of our society works. So to realize that with food, it's such an important part of this whole process, because we all need food to survive, we all need water, these are our basic survival needs. And I just think it's so great that you guys are starting this. I think the best advice was, you know, find that confidence in how you share your product, and also find that the importance of what you're doing. It really is. This is like a worldwide thing that I think is an important matter everywhere you go. It's like how we share our products and how we support our local food movements. So I think, yeah, just have fun with it and enjoy the fact that you're offering something to your community, and then really get down pricing wise, how you're going to offer it, how that money exchange is going to happen is very important, because yes, you're going to be dealing with an inflow and an outflow, right? So just like the restaurant business, it's that give and receive. Okay. Yeah. Have fun with it, guys. Yeah, keep doing it. Yeah, of course.
As we move forward on our plan, we soon realized that this is turning into a big project, especially since none of us had any business experience or knew anything about the food industry. Oh. So we had to find a mentor. Luckily, we had the chance to work with Dr. Smith, the owner of the vegan restaurant I Love Nalo in Waimanalo. And she's also my mom. She's over there. Hi, Mom. She taught us about the 30-30-30-10 business model, which she uses in her own business, and guided us on how to price our products. We even did market research by holding a sampling day where we all got to taste the products I made, which we were planning to sell. We got a lot of good feedback from our classmates, and the food was a big hit, so we kept moving forward. We completed the required KS forms and waited for an approval to test out our idea. Then, on Tuesday, May 9th, we were able to hold our pilot farmers market food stand at Koneo, where we sold our plant-based products and local produce to our fellow classmates and teachers. Our healthy vegan menu included chocolate vanilla pudding fruit cups, vegan brownies, chili and rice, tofu poke nori vegetable wraps, and oatmeal squares with fruit. We also used mint from our malos to make our products look appealing, and sold bananas and papayas, which we got from local Waimanalo farmers. We are happy to say that we sold a lot of our products, and based on the response from our classmates, we think this healthy food stand would be a huge success on our campus if it continued. Here's a quick video of our day and the responses we got from our classmates.
Try this.
I like it. I like that it's all sustainable, and like we get to like eat off the aina.
Yeah, no.
Bro, I'm ready to whack my bowl.
It's so good. I feel so skinny right now. So yeah.
I think it's a good option since a coffee doesn't really offer us good tasting healthy options. This is something different, and I'm glad I came to our campus this year. And I'm ready to mop some food. So.
I would come here every single day and I would buy the food because it's very yummy and healthy.
So in the short hour and a half selling our products, we managed to make a profit. As a team, we decided to donate half of the profit to be used as a seed money for students interested in perpetuating our farmers market food stand, while keeping the other half for a year-end class party. Oh, okay, so in total we made $387, not including the $140 extra that we had to pay back to my mom for the ingredients from her restaurant. So, yeah. So we were really happy knowing that our products provided nutritional and healthy options for our friends overall.
Although this was a fun project, it was rather challenging. However, we did learn a lot about creating a business and how our food choices are directly correlated to sustainability principles and issues relative to our ecosystems, and how important it is to eat healthy, nutritious food to sustain our bodies.
As one of the famous Olelo no Iao explains, Mahala i ka wai kapua, kamaka o kapua, which means thriving people are found where living conditions are good. If we can provide healthier food options for our Kamehameha students, teachers, and faculty on campus, then we believe we will be able to make a positive impact upon our bodies, ecosystem, and community, where we can all thrive and live together in harmony. Thank you.
12:23. 12:23. So, mahalo to all the groups that presented and everybody who's here in the crowd. Now, that's our first part. We're going to have like a 5-minute bio break. Now, also located in the back, there are some formerly known as Haole brownies, but I guess they've rebranded them as Kamehameha's famous brownies, but we all know what they're called. And also something that's in the back there, I also have some pesto that I've made from some of our things with the mala back there. So the pesto is there. There's some cheese in it for those of you who are there, but please, for our guests who are not students, please have some and enjoy. So we'll get back together in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Mahalo, everyone.
bunch of anxiety. Oh, there's not even that much food here. I know, but it's cold. I got a shit. So, no. We're Aloha Harvest. Yeah. That's probably ours. No. Nope. Nope. Hey, you made it?
Oh, yeah? Oh, so you didn't. That's my fault. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I don't care.
Wait, who's the Aloha Harvest people now? I'm not sure. I think it's the lady in the red. I want to see.
The tall one?
No.
Yes.
Watch, it was Loki, Miss Tully.
The whole time.
Guys, thank you for choosing my. What?
No, it's Josiah Kunipo because he's a legend.
Yeah.
So we have to take a picture?
Sure.
I'll stay on the same side. I don't want to be with myself.
We're about to preach some gospel.
So our group is called Aloha Harvest.
We're the missionaries and
Pretty funny. Hello, everybody, and mahalo. Hopefully everything is going well. Everybody's heading back in. So we'll be starting our second part of our symposium with our first group.
You gonna start it? Gonna start it? The thing. Ready?
Okay. Wait. Okay, go.
Aloha, everybody. My name is Talon, and this is Alana and Kanyala, and we're missing one more member, but Maka is in our group too. So our group name is Aloha Harvest. It's named after the foundation that we were able to complete our project through, and so like other groups, we all started off with our bug list, and our group was one of the groups that was actually very indecisive, and we had no plan at first, and so eventually we were able to make it.
Okay, our group started with, well, actually we had 2 visits from Amy Brinker, and the first one, like, everybody knew what they were doing, but we were, like, the only group who were like, oh, we don't know what we're doing at all. And then she, like, basically told us, like, the major problems on our campus were waste, electricity, and water, like, the waste of all of them. And so we were, like, interested in the waste, and, like, so on our second visit, we told her that we were interested with that, and so the problem on waste on our campus, there's like many different types of waste. So like there's e-waste, plastic containers, and glass, and then there's food waste, which is the biggest problem. So what's the next one? This is a chart that she showed us, and food waste is the gray. So and it's the biggest, which is 40% of our waste is food waste. So we really wanted to focus on that. So first we had to decide if we wanted to focus on just like a kahi, which is the high school dining hall, or if we wanted to go into the elementary and middle school dining hall. And also there's like many different like varieties of waste where there's like pre-consumed and post-consumed, but we'll get to that later. But so we chose to work with a kahi, and we didn't really know what to do. So Amy Brinker again helped us like
by pointing us out to Aloha Harvest, which is the company that we work with throughout our whole project.
So for food waste in Akahi, there are two different types of food waste, and a lot of us, the main one that we know is post-consumed food waste, and that's the waste that is accumulated from the waste that students have on their plate and they don't eat. And the other is pre-consumed. So pre-consumed includes the food scraps and the food that is prepared in the kitchen but is not eaten or not brought out onto the food line, or food that remains on the food line and isn't eaten. And so we wanted to focus more on the pre-consumed portion of the waste because we felt that a lot of projects focused on the post-consumed, and we wanted to try something different. And so our focus was specifically on the pre-consumed food that is cooked and the extra food that doesn't make it off the assembly line. So the category of food is usually just thrown away and wasted. So we came up with a plan to change that. And with that plan, we were able to research the waste that we have in Akahi, both pre-consumed and post-consumed.
So the planning part of our project was kind of confusing at first. And at first we wanted to focus on the post-consume waste because we were trying to figure out what we could do with the food that the students don't eat and they just throw it inside the buckets. And after doing that, we decided that no, that's not the way we want to go because everyone looks at the waste after, but not the waste before. So we decided to go with the pre-consumed waste, which is the food that it either doesn't go out to the assembly line or it's left over after. So Amy Brinker helped us figure out what we were gonna do, and so we wanted to go to a company called Aloha Harvest, and she told us about the Good Samaritan law, so that we would be safe from, like, just in case the food turns out to get someone sick, that nothing would happen to us. And then Aloha Harvest is the non-profited company, and what they do is they'll take your pre-consumed food or your good food, and they'll transport it to agencies that will feed the hungry of Hawaii. And so the Good Samaritan law is when you donate something to them and they bring it out, as long as you have good intentions and you know that your food is good before you give it to them, then nothing can happen to you. And so like if someone were to get sick, it wouldn't be your fault because you knew that what you gave to them was good and you're protected by the state. And what we did was, when we had our proposal, we contacted Chef Dean, and he never answered us, so we decided that we're just going to go down and try to see if he's there. And we waited a little bit, and then after that, he called us in, and he told us, I'd like to meet with you guys. And he's very welcoming, and he was open to all our sustainable ideas because he kept talking to us about like the past students and what they did for him and how he liked it. But then after they do something, when they graduate, it kind of gets left behind and no one continues it. So he told us that that we could do something like this, and that he worked with Aloha Harvest before, but in his budget, he would have to pay his workers to go and pack the food from them, and then it kind of like takes them off the job that they're normally supposed to do. And then after that, he told us that he'll get back to us, and the next day he emailed us and told us that we're clear. So then we contacted Aloha Harvest on the 26th of April, and they didn't answer us. So Talon called him on the 2nd, and they told us that we could do it whenever we wanted. So then they came on the 4th of May, and that was our first day of the project.
So the actual breakdown of what we did in Akahi was a lot of hard work, and I think the hardest thing about it was coordinating a time where our group was able to go, and a lot of us didn't have the same free periods, so sometimes it was just one of us or two of us, and there was rarely times where there was all four of us, but we each pitched in our work. And so the actual work that we did was after 12:30, which is the time that we are given to work because the line has to stay open until 12:30, we went down and Aloha Harvest delivered us pans and lids that we could use to pack the food, as shown in that second bubble. So we had to, we packed the food manually with spoons and the tongs, and there was a lot of rice, and there was 3 full pans of rice almost every day, and that came out to about 8 foil pans, and each of them were about 10 pounds, and it was a lot of labor. And so after the packing of the extra food into the pans, we'd take it down the elevator inside of Akahi, and we would wait for Aloha Harvest. And sometimes they would take a while, and sometimes they were already there, but I think the longest that they took was they didn't come till the end of the period, so we were waiting down there for a long time. But every delivery that they come and pick up from us, they leave us with a receipt, and we use those receipts as data.
So over the course of our project, we actually collected 420 pounds of food. It was for a whole week, well, not including the weekend, but Thursday to Thursday. And these are some pictures of what okay, so the far right is the receipt that we would get every time we donated to them. Their truck is actually air conditioned, and that's Talon and one of the workers. So they take the food from us, weigh it, write the receipt, and then pack the food in. And we're not their only stop, so that's why Talon said that sometimes they were late or early. Like, they have a course that they run throughout the whole day. So, like, they could be coming from, like, Waianae, I don't know, and that's why they're late, or, like, someplace else that's closer. So 12:30 every day, we would walk down, pack up the foods, and yeah, sometimes it was a little difficult because, yeah, not everybody has the same freeze, and we had to skip a little bit of class, but it was worth it, I feel.
So our solution, our project worked out, and we found that packing and giving the food to Aloha Harvest, it helped us save waste from Akahi. And we talked to Chef Dean, and he told us the one thing that stuck was, he said that, what if you do a project and it's successful, but what's the point of doing it if it doesn't carry out in the end? So we're trying to figure out a way to get the school service students or detention students to do this project too.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Or
your mom. Here. I'll just hold it. Hey, everyone. That's us. Yeah. I got it. We're gonna take a picture. We'll call you PE. Ready to wing everything? Tell everyone. Nah, I mean, if you think about it, all of our practice runs have different editions.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Austin Rizantis. I'm a 13-year senior here at Kamehameha Schools. I'm a member of the canoe paddling team and the Hawaiian Ensemble.
Aloha, my name is Aina. I'm a 6-year senior here at Kamehameha Schools. I am a part of the Kamehameha Schools Concert Glee Club and baseball team.
Aloha. My name is Josiah Sullivan, and I got into Kamehameha in 7th grade, and I am also part of the Concert Glee Club.
Aloha, my name is Seth, and I got in 7th grade, and I don't do anything, school activities.
So the name of our group is Sustainabra. Yeah. And the issue that we wanted to tackle was food waste in Akahi, and we wanted to collaborate with another group in our period that was creating a garden down at Performing Arts. So let's get started.
Okay, so starting off with the background and the problem at hand. So our vision was to give back to Kamehameha Schools through sustainability-minded community service and to provide to future generations of students here at Kamehameha. So as Austin stated, the big issue on our campus was the food waste at Akahi. So I don't know if you guys know, but over 300 pounds of food on average is wasted every day at Akahi. So you may think that this food is like composted or something, but no, the food isn't composted or repurposed. It's just thrown away and never seen again by the human eye. So it's not free to waste this food, and the dollar amount of food being wasted continues to add up with no benefit to the school, and it started to become a big cost to dispose waste for our school. So what we had to do is come up with a sustainable and economically beneficial way to solve this problem.
So speaking of sustainability, let's talk about that. That's important. A largely discussed topic regarding sustainability and food consumption is the food production and waste habits around the world. So if you don't know, majority of our food is mass-produced in farms, mostly in the United States, in the mainland United States and other parts of the world, and shipped here. And when farmers mass-produce their foods, their crops and their agriculture and livestock, they usually do it with the idea of generating the most product for the least amount of money. So it becomes unsustainable when it gets out of control. And so people, especially in first world countries, are not really aware of how much food we may actually be wasting every single day. And we're also not really aware of where our food comes from, and that becomes a problem because then we're not, I guess, seeing the problem happening. So one way that we can tackle this is with composting. So composting food waste and growing our own food would allow us to become more sustainable because we would only be growing the amount of food that we need. And when we're done eating the food, we can simply put it back into the composting system and have the vermicast and the compost that comes out of the system be used to grow more food. So it just becomes a cycle that repeats itself. So I said vermicast, and that is a fancy word for worm poop, which is used as fertilizer for growing more food. It's very nutrient rich and it's really good for growing crops. So the next part is design. So we need to think about how can we create a garden in a sustainable way. So the composted food waste would be used as fertilizer for the plants. Like I stated, it's put into the composting system where it's eaten by worms and then pooped out. And another thing too is the irrigation systems that we would be using to water the crops. We need to think about how much water is going to be used and how it's delivered to the plants. And when we're thinking about that, you have to account for how big the garden might be, because the bigger it is, the more water it needs, obviously. And so for our project, we intended the garden to be big, but we didn't want it to be too big where it might interfere with present or future projects in our designated area. And so we decided to focus on maybe the performing arts lawn.
So as Austin has stated, we ended up using the performing arts lawn, but our original plan was to use the now empty space down at Keanakamano with the sole purpose of creating food products. As time went on, we talked to Mr. Blake and Kaiwaine'e, and they recommended that we downsize with the small amount of time that we have and the amount of work that it would actually take to complete this project. So after a long thought process, we did again choose the performing arts building. We we found out that many other groups wanted to use that too, and we decided to team up. And we thought that we could add our composting piece into their overall goal because we all had the same goal. So at first, as said before, we got denied by Kuma Alika because he had future plans to create an outside theater. But in the end, we worked it out, and Seth can talk about that.
All right, so the thing is that Trevor's group wanted to do the decorative garden, so at first we wanted to do a garden too, but then we're just like, oh, okay, how about we help them and provide them the help that they need for their plants to grow up, because the thing is, like, they didn't start with like big plants already, they're starting from young, so some vermicast would be like good in order for it to grow, especially over this long summer. And some of the plants that they are gonna grow is the lehua, a'ali'i, and the ilima. So in order to start up what we wanted to do, we had to start off small with the compost system, and that's what Josiah's gonna talk about.
Okay, so I have here our composting system. Like Seth said, we wanted to start small and not do anything too rationally big. So what it is, it's a small shoebox container with holes drilled in the top and the bottom, so there's efficient airflow. A layer of an old t-shirt, cardboard, shredded newspaper, and then we put the food and the worms, and then another layer of the shredded newspaper. Then we had to make sure the whole thing was moist but not completely drenched, so that, because worms don't like living in dry areas. So like the large scale is our goal in the future, so hopefully future students will be inspired by this and be able to provide for the garden that will be flourishing in the Performing Arts lawn.
All right, so reflecting on our experience, you know, personally, I wouldn't really call it an experience. I call it more of a journey. The journey from start to finish. I mean, there was ups and downs, because at first we wanted to work at Kiana Kamano, and that did not work out as planned because it was too big and the transportation down would be too hard to get, especially if you had to walk down. I wasn't about to walk down. So once we started changing the idea and getting Flick involved, that's when we started really getting like a momentum on what we wanted to do and all that, and it became really successful. So from our experience, we learned that sustainability is achievable. Like, the only thing is that you have to have like a clear mind when you're doing it. You have to like think of the end result, and like you also have to think about everything else, all the other factors. But so we achieve sustainability by creating compost system, and it's not like huge scale, but since we just wanted a small plan, and we hope from there we can grow.
Okay, so for our legacy, we want to talk about, well, why is it important to give back, and why do we believe that's important, and what our group kind of came to a conclusion on is we feel like it's important to give back because the school's provided us with a lot of educational and cultural opportunities for the past at least 6 or 7 or maybe even 13 years. And we kind of wanted to leave behind something that future students would be able to add on to and kind of take over once we graduate next week, Sunday. And we just thought, like, oh, well, composting system, it's really easy to manage and anyone can do it. So it wouldn't be too hard for future students to take it over. And our project specifically, how I feel about it is just because I wanted to give back to the future hula dancers at Kamehameha just because I'm a part of the ensemble, and the Performing Arts Department, why we want to kind of help them out and do this garden for them too, and help out Trevor's group, is just because like they've given me a lot of kind of opportunities to expand my horizons and kind of like become more rooted in my culture, and I thought that was really important.
Okay, so as me and Ina said that we are both part of Concert Glee Club, and coming from a music standpoint, most musicians get their inspiration from nature. So we were thinking that by having this lawn, this garden in front of the Concert Glee room, right outside the doors, hopefully future musicians will be inspired to write their own songs or write beautiful songs about Kamehameha.
Unlike those guys, I'm not in like the Glee Club or hula, but a lot of you guys know that I cruise at benches a lot, bench mob, you know what I mean? Bench squad, you know what I mean? But so I sit on the benches almost every day, and like I just look across and I only see how there's grass, you know what I mean? And I just think to myself, it would look a lot nicer with some trees in here. So I just wanted to see an area from benches, like besides grass, because grass gets boring, but trees, that's the way to go.
Okay, so in conclusion, throughout this process, we observed a significant change in the way that we look at food waste. Like, yeah, of course, like in the beginning, we knew that food waste was bad and had to do something about it. But after seeing like the cost of the food waste and the actual amount in pounds, we truly understood that it's a big problem here, especially at Kamehameha, and it needs to be solved as soon as possible. Were there any other outcomes to our project? Well, from the beginning, we were unsure if we were even going to like get what we wanted and complete our goal. So being able to achieve what we wanted to do in a smaller scale is really satisfying for us. And even though we didn't see any other outcomes, we were happy that we were able to achieve our goal.
And then furthermore, just some things that we took away from the project, kind of like life lessons, I guess, is communication is key. So if you don't communicate with your group members about your work and you don't communicate with other groups about maybe having a similar project, then you may crash and burn. Another one is to make sure that you get your work done, just because there's, if you don't get your work done, then nothing happens. And sometimes it drags down your grade, because, you know, maybe you missed a blog post or 20. And then another important one, just being able to communicate your project to other people and communicate your ideas in a clear and concise way. That's really important, because if other people who are in charge of approving or denying your idea, if they're not able to understand what it is you're trying to do, then it doesn't go anywhere. So having confidence in your project and being able to talk about it with other people is really important. And even more than all this is what we learned is that sustainability is actually pretty easy. You don't have to be like devoting your entire life to living in a sustainable way, but there's so many little things that you can do in your life to kind of make a difference on a larger scale. And I feel like, you know, the composting system, it's really small and it doesn't seem like much, but if everyone were to put together a compost system and grow their own food, then it would become a really big thing. And just some final thoughts. Now that our task has kind of come to an end, we feel that we paved a small little pathway for the future students, and we're really hoping that this kind of gets, kind of becomes a bigger thing. Like we're saying, we want this to be a legacy project where it can just be continually added upon by other students. And we're hoping that Chris Blake wants to incorporate our project into the curriculum and make it a grade for the future students, where you have to add in some food waste into the system, or else you fail. But yeah, so it was a really good learning experience, and I'm really glad that we got to do this.
So our challenge for you is, how can you help to make Kamehameha Schools Kapalama a better place for future students? So maybe like small things like picking up trash or watching what you eat, not wasting, making sure your eyes aren't bigger than your stomach when taking food.
All right, and then special mahalos to Krista Collins, Chef Dean, Kumu Alika, Auntie Jamie Fong, Kai Waine'e, and Kumu Moana Akana. Much mahalos, and we are done.
We went so far over time. Hey, get back up. Any questions? Okay.
Click, click. Is that a mouse?
Also, you can move it around. Okay. So that's which one is? You can just click any side. Okay. Oh, fancy. Oh, picture. Oh, okay.
Were we in the same order too?
Yeah, we were.
Aloha mai kako e nā hoa. We are i mua kānaka. So my name is Christopher Kalani Asano Jr. and I'm currently a senior in at Kamehameha. And here are my partners.
Aloha, I'm Josiah Kunipo. I'm also a senior.
I'm Kyra Kana, and I'm also a senior.
I'm Kanoa Garner, and I'm a junior.
And with all four of us, we make up our group here today. Mahalo. So here we are today to explain to you the process and things that we went through to go through our Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha project. So one of the background and the problems to our project is the land usage on Kapalama campus, things that we use the land for, whether it be for beautification or through the use of sustainable foods and food production. We also have the background of the Mala movement that was started last year by me and Kunipo and a couple of other boys down at the dorms. It was mainly inspiration by Primo and Dile Moniz. And sustainable foods, we're here to talk to you about sustainable foods versus the land that's used for beautification also. And a big part of our background, so at first, our idea that we came up with was to go and talk about trash on campus, the kind of things that will pop up all over, like just litter on the ground, if students even use the trash cans or if they need more variety of like recycling bins or not. But then we looked around and we saw that they actually do have that implemented around a lot around, especially Konea. So when Kumu Amy Brinker came to talk to us, again, she gave us an awesome inspiration idea by talking to us about the master garden plan for the Maui Kamehameha School's Maui campus. So this kind of gave us an idea of what we could try to do to be able to survey our campus over here in Kapalama and see what lands are being used for what. So through this process, we also went through a lot of teacher input and a lot of questions being asked to grounds and faculty and staff. A lot of people have different opinions and about what they think should be done on campus and what should and should not be used. But this campus has a lot of different options that we had to try and get the process going through. So our solution to this problem of land usage ultimately ended up being to just be able to get the lower classmen inspired to use the mala that we made down at the dorms. So as long as we were able to get kids inspired to keep on doing what we started doing last year, then that was a good project for us. So yes, the benefactors of this project
would be the Kamehameha School's haumana. Mostly the underclassmen, the sophomores, freshmen, and the juniors. They teach them about food production and self-sustainability and how to grow their own food, and also to be able to use that food that you grew for what you want to be able to supply, I don't know, maybe like a small party or just what you gotta bring for like Hawaiian history, had a potluck. That's kind of stuff you would use this for.
So the idea of sustainability is very focal to this project, and environmentally thinking, we really had this idea to change how our campus was running as like with plants and things. A lot of our plants that we have here on campus are used mostly for things like beautification, and so we really wanted to change that to make it where we would be able to use the things that we grow to eat and to sustain us. So our idea, going off of Kumu Amy Brinker's, how she shared with us the garden plan for Maui campus, that really sparked this idea to build off this sort of mala movement that we had that started last year with my friend Primo and a couple other boys, mostly boarders, that really wanted to make a difference in the place that they lived here on campus. So it really started when Primo he really just wanted to be able to grow kalo, which is something that's very important to him. Back on Kauai, him and his tutu have lo'i, and so kalo is really something that's very important to him, and he just really wanted to be able to leave that legacy through something that he loved for the future. So our ideas was to kind of take Primo's vision and just expand on it. And so when Primo went into his wanting to make malas, he didn't go and ask around to teachers, things like that. He kind of just did it. He seen this space right by our dorm with a bunch of monstera that basically was doing nothing, just sitting there looking pretty. And he decided to go out there, clear out a huge space, and just put all kalo there. So we really just wanted to take what he already started and try and make it bigger, but also like talk with higher ups in order to get that permission rather than just going out there and doing it ourselves. So next we have some videos from some work days that we have at the malas, or at one of our main mala right by our dorm. And so we have our work day of when we harvested one of our patches that we planted last year, and we also have when we're steaming and ku'iing the kalo.
So as you can see, this area is right by the Liho dorms, right by that open grass area, but it's not so open anymore because we're using it for malas now. So in this video, all these kanaka, they're not only seniors. We have actually this is one sophomore right now. His name is Michael Pasqua, and he's with us helping to harvest. So this movement that was started around a year ago was towards the end of last year, around the same time. We were able to pound out those 4 beds in a matter of 1 week.
Hello, Mike Kako.
This is Preston Morales.
Preston Morales. So now it's Brother Primo. We're cruising at the beautiful Mālama Honua Kiokua. As you can see, Maramaita and Hosea. Pulling on the Ma'ea variety. This thing has been in the ground for about 9 months. So yeah, thank the good Lord for the good yields provided all the way from the leaf farm.
This guy's a solid guy.
Pulling out the kalo, and we're gonna be steaming it tomorrow and then pounding on Friday. So it's gonna be a good transition and good fun. Guaranteed. Aloha.
So that was just a short snippet of the day that we harvested, one of the first harvests. Oh, okay. And now we come to the part where we actually were able to steam the kalo the next day. And mahalo to Kaimana Kauai for these awesome video clips used by the Midkiff recording equipment. A big mahalo to also Mr. Cashman down at the Kaleopapa dorms. He was also very big, inspired to help us get inspired to do this. Just cruising, steaming, jamming for a long time. It's the fruits of our labor. Mahalo for watching those videos. That was just a short snippet of the things that can happen if we keep on being able to sustain the things that we did over here.
So as you can see from the videos, this is really what we had in mind, but on a bigger scale. So it's great to be able to have these types of things, but we really want to be able to have have mala for all students, not just like our borders, things like that. And so yeah, we really wanted to kind of develop this garden plan and to see go through our campus and see what are the places where it's more like beautification, and maybe we can use that land instead for food and things like that.
Okay, so one of the areas we wanted to look at to use was the auditorium lawn because of how big and open the space was. And we would use this area for kalo or uala, and also for lehua or other flowers to be used.
Okay, some of the roadblocks that we had is that when we went to go talk to the kumus, we got shut down because, like how the other group said, they had plans for certain areas. So that kind of was a setback for our group, and we had to find another location. And when we did that a second time, we also got shut down another time because it's like there was gonna how you say it during Ho'oulu, it was a setup area where we had an idea. So he got back to us on some areas, and he said that we could use other areas that we had or that they had in mind for us, but it wasn't like the type of areas that was easy for us to work with because of all of our different schedules and stuff.
So a lot of experiences that we gained from this was to we got involved a lot more with the outside people instead of just teachers. We got to talk to a lot of the operations and grounds people that work on campus. no matter what, just push forward. You never know what's gonna happen, and if everything gets shut down, then it's all good because you still have something that you can be able to spread and teach the youth at our school about. And also, don't put everything into one place. That was a big part because a lot of us all planned to use that auditorium lawn, and we all got shut down one time. But it's all good because we all holomua for it and we pushed on. And so yeah, now we're able to spread the awareness and perpetuate what we started.
So right as of now, our project hasn't been a huge success. We unfortunately were not able to develop any more mala due to the grounds and Kaiwaine'e telling us that we could only plant things like tea leaf or ferns around like the border of certain areas. So we kind of decided to just, focus more on trying to develop a plan rather than putting into act like making mala, things like that. And so we see our project more as like, although we weren't able to like get like a big success out of it, we still feel like this idea can still keep going and it can still inspire the future, because even though we weren't able to get everything that we wanted, there's still like the mala movement happening on campus, and it's still something that it has the potential to grow in the future. And so our group really wanted to be able to kind of plant that seed and just leave that idea, and hopefully it would develop into a legacy.
Any questions?
Mahalo.
Aloha mai kākou. Oh. No, I know. Chase and Asiasen are coming by, and they're going to give you guys some handouts. There's our website, and also if some of the high schoolers want to scan the Snapchat code, if you guys want to follow along on our website, that'd be cool too.
No. Oh, sorry. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Yeah, full screen. Done. Okay. Aloha mai kākou. I'm Kamale Maradi, and I'm a senior here, and this is Asiasen Asing and Chase Souza. Chase is a senior also, and Asiasen is the only junior in our class. So our project is Mālama Ikawai, and our topic was water conservation and trying to lessen the amount of water that our school utilizes. So let's see. There we go. So the problem that we identified was that when it rains here at Kapalama, it really rains. Like there's many waterfalls that start coming out of gutters and starts flooding in certain places. So we thought instead of just letting that
water go back into the ocean and creating runoff? What if we utilize that water for something else? So the solution that we came up with was to create a rain catchment and use that rainwater to water the different mala on campus. Okay, so how we came up with our problem was Amy Brinker came into our classroom and she showed us these different charts, much like the ones that other groups have shown you. But this one shows that in the year 2013-2014, our school utilized nearly 76 million gallons of water. So that's a lot. That's like a really lot of water. So we found out that 30% of that water is being used for landscaping, and that includes watering lawns and the different mala on campus. So the idea that we came up with was to try and lessen that portion of the water. I know that it's only a small portion, but it's something. So we did some research, and we found out that Kamehameha takes their water from a private well, and the well itself is 870 feet below land surface, and in 2000, the water level was, data was taken to show the water level, and that year in 2000, it was 690 feet below, or 695 feet below land surface, meaning that 4/5 of the water that was in there originally was gone. And if every year since then we've been using nearly 76 million gallons of water, I would be afraid to figure out how much water is still left in there. So how can we solve this problem? We came up with the rain catchment again, and because Amy Brinker actually gave this idea to us as well. So she talked about how it was not really connected, but we kind of made it connect anyway. She talked about how, like, when toilets are being used, we use fresh water to, like, flush down our waste, you know, our poop, kukai, whatever. We use fresh water to do all of those things when we could be using recycled water that's not exactly clean. So we thought, since the rain is going to go back to the Aina anyway, we would do a rain catchment and then give that water back to the Aina.
Okay, so for our solution, we came up with 3 different ideas. Our first idea was a xeriscape garden, which is kind of like a rain garden, but utilizes like trees and stuff. And this is what we drew out as our plan. And it uses, so you can see the xeriscape garden, and all the rain would land on that, and all the extra water that runs off would go into a catchment. And then we would use like a solar-powered pump to try and bring the water back around to recycle it. But we realized that was pretty unrealistic for the time we had and way too complex for us to create. So we moved on to our second idea, which was to create a mala in this grassy area between the Akahi stairs and the auditorium. And we're going to use just a rain catchment system, utilizing the gutters on Akahi stairway to water a mala. So it's the closest thing we could get to a rain garden or a xeriscape garden. And Uncle Kai Waina'et, he kind of just told us no, because we wouldn't have anyone to take care of it after we were gone, and we understood that, so we decided we'd take out the mala, but keep going with our rain catchment. So we set up, I think, like 13 or 14 blue buckets along Akahi stairs, one under each gutter. And the same day that we put them out, we were stoked because later that night, it started pouring. And I was texting my group because I live on campus. So I was texting my group because I was super stoked that we were catching water. And we realized how much water we were catching and how fast. So we had to get storage bins for the water. So we used 2 trash cans that were like 32 gallons each. And we filled up the first trash can after a couple of days. And then the second trash can filled up like halfway after another day or so. And then we decided we needed more space. So we took one of the empty aquaculture tanks where the fish usually live in, and we put it underneath Midkiff where we saw a lot of water shooting off the gutters. And after a couple of days, we were surprised. I was literally, my jaw dropped. I was shocked because that thing filled up halfway, and we didn't even empty water into it. It was just the water flying off the roof. And once again, we realized we're running out of space. So we started trying to put all the water into jugs and give them to Brada Primo guys for the mala. You know, they if we can't have a mala up here, we might as well give it to a mala that exists. And yeah.
So our rain catchment system was a small prototype, and it turned out to be very successful. Of course, we came into some problems when collecting data. The buckets were a little taller than the spouts, so when we tried to take the buckets out from under the gutter, it would spill, and we'd lose like half the water that was in the bucket. So we had to make sure we had to measure the water before taking it out, and we did our best to place the buckets so that when we take them out, we could pour the water into another bucket. And we did this for 7 to 10 days, I believe 10. We went down to the stairs daily to empty the buckets. Most days were really successful. Other days, the buckets were pretty much dry. But we were able to get a lot of water from the buckets and collect a lot of water. One of the problems we came across, though, was as the trash cans filled up, we had problems with mosquitoes. So we had to cover them with trash bags to make sure that nothing could breed in it, and make sure that no trash or any of the students walking by didn't throw any trash into the bin by accident.
Yeah, so by accident. Yeah, anyway, so some of the buckets that were lining the stairway down to Akahi, you know, Akahi is where all the food is. So when people are walking up to Konia or whatever, we actually saw that people threw like food in our water. So we had to like dump some of it just because there was like rice or like pineapples or something random like that. Anyway, just like they're just sitting in the water and like, thanks, Kamehameha, you guys rock. Anyway, so these are some pictures showing that how much water you could catch if you just, this is just from one day, by the way. There was like 10 inches of rain in just this, this giant bin right by Midkiff. There's this leaky gutter, and the water just creates like a waterfall, and it comes over, and we decided that'd be a good place to put our bins. And then the next day we come back and there's like 10 inches of rain and choke water. So we were stoked, obviously, because that bin can hold up to 110 gallons. And if it was full after just raining once, imagine how much water you could catch if you did this on a daily basis or just create this as an ongoing system. So as you can see, our buckets were filling up, I think after maybe 5 days. Anyway, there were 2 of our trash can bins were overflowing, and they were coming over the plastic bag that was there to protect it from the mosquitoes, and that's when we got the big new one. But then even then, our bins continued to collect rain, just because there's nothing preventing it from catching rain. It's kind of just sitting out there. And we realized afterwards that when we kept pouring water in, there were holes on the side. So we had to take the water back out and leave it on the side because it was just leaking. Anyway, so we took data on how much rain we collected, and I believe, yeah.
So the first couple of days we took data, we didn't have all 13 buckets, so which explains the red marks where it says not available. On the first day, we only started off with 5 buckets, but we got a lot of rain from that too. And the graph on the bottom shows that the most rain that we got was from May 10, and that was the last week we had the buckets out and we were collecting data. Yeah. Okay, so the amount of water we collected, besides the amount of inches of water we measured, we collected an average. So the 2 trash bins that we had could contain around 32 gallons each, so that was 64 for the 2. And the aquaculture bin that we had that collected 110 gallons of water after 7 to 10 days of it being out. So we collected more than 180 gallons of water in 7 to 10 days, and that's not including the amount of water we spilled, the amount of water that got dumped out by other students, and the amount of water that overflowed out of the buckets.
Okay, so here you can see me holding a couple of jugs filled up with rainwater because, like I said, we were running out of space and we needed to actually utilize the water, or whatever we've been collecting it for. And yeah, it doesn't look like much, but after walking around all day in school with our bags and everything, and then we have to carry a bunch of jugs around filled with water, it gets heavy, especially walking back to the dorms. So I did ask for some freshman peoples to help me. And, this is, during class periods, we would go fill up our jugs with water and then carry them all the way back to the mala that's, right out here, if you want to go look after. And we would just water all the kalo that was there, since our buckets and stuff were overflowing anyways. Might as well make use of the water. Oh.
So, yeah, I think we just wanted to emphasize on how tedious the work was, just because we had to walk all the way from class down to Akahi, hop the fence, fill up all of our jugs with the water, then hop the fence again, and then walk up the stairs to water the mala. So that was really hard work. We were all sweating buckets, and we probably could have caught some of that too, but anyway.
Just keep in mind that we did 4 gallons at a time, and we had to walk all the way up the Akahi stairs. So 4 gallons at a time.
Yeah.
Out of 180 gallons, 4.
After that, we decided that we can't only be watering the mala that's up here, so we continued to fill up the gallons, and then we gave it to Matayo and Primo guys, the people that previous groups have mentioned before, so that although we couldn't create a mala ourselves, we wanted to provide them with water they needed to water theirs. So our next steps deals with that.
So our plan from here is to implement a long-term, large-scale system that will potentially be permanent and will be able to benefit Kamehameha from now on. To test that it would be effective, we used our small-scale prototype, and we left it out for 7 to 10 days, and it was actually very successful. We were able to collect, again, 180 gallons in 7 to 10 days using 13 4-quart buckets placed under water spouts. So taking this information, we are highly confident that a large-scale system, hopefully with rain barrels, will be very successful and hopefully have a very lasting and huge impact on the water conservation that we're trying to do here at Kamehameha.
So here you can see a DIY rain barrel thing that we found on the internet. So we are hoping that we can install these in rain gutters near the different mala all over campus. So like by the Kilwa one, the one by Primo's dorm, and possibly the one down by elementary, and the one up here by the aquaponics. So it shows just like different tools and little pieces that you would need in order to create a rain catchment system. And we believe that this would be more convenient to for watering the different mala, because you don't have to walk somewhere and transport it. It'll just be right there. And there's a link that you guys can follow if you guys want to look into more. But then we have our Works Cited page over here. And that's it. Mahalo. Any questions?
Picture.
It didn't even feel like that.
I think 12. Nope.
No. You pulled it up first. Like at the beginning of the second half. I don't. No. What was that one?
Oh, do you have the...
Do you want me to do that, or are you gonna do it? Okay, I'll do it. I hate you so much. Or can you pass me it?
Picture? Picture. Do you want to say the group name?
Cool. Hello, everyone. Our group is called the Sustain Kapaa Lama Group, and our topic is the Aloha Plus Challenge.
I'm Rachel.
My name is Trace, and currently we have 2 members of our group missing, so go easy on us. Their names are Taimane Talanoa and Kenilin Nishihira Aki, sorry.
Okay, go. You.
Next one.
Next one.
So in the process of choosing our topic, like many other groups, Amy Brinker came to talk to us, and she talked a lot about our campus sustainability and our food, our water, electricity, and land usage. And our group, all the other groups were choosing these topics, but our group wanted to be different, so actually we first decided to do our project on air quality and measuring the oxygen in rooms. But when we saw the expenses that were for this project, it was like in the hundreds, so we quickly backed out of that deal. Yeah. And then that's when Amy Brinker talked to us about the Aloha Plus Challenge. And yeah, this is a quick little video.
So for our project, we decided to create like PSA videos, explain to people what the Aloha Plus challenge was, and we made them short so that we could post them on like a social media account, because we realized that after the first minute of a video, people tend to stop watching. Yeah. Oh God, that's. So we're gonna go to Midkiff and interview people on what the Aloha Plus Challenge is. Do you know what the Aloha Plus Challenge is? No.
No.
No. No. No.
No, I don't.
No, what is that?
The Aloha Plus Challenge is a commitment by the state of Hawaii to reach this potential goal of sustainability by the year 2030.
There are 6 main sustainability targets that the Aloha Plus Challenge will be working towards, which is food production, resource management, and clean energy.
Waste reduction, sustainable communities, green workforce, and education.
Oh yeah, so that was just a little PSA clip. Hopefully Hawaii Green Growth can utilize this clip. So just a little more background. Just a little more background on the Aloha Plus Challenge. It is a statewide challenge, and it targets 6 sustainability targets. It was signed in 2014 by the mayors of Honolulu, Maui, Hawaii, and Kauai, and also by the chief executive of the Office of Hawaii Affairs, and also by the governor of the state of Hawaii. And like the video explains, the 6 targets are clean energy, local food production, natural resource management, solid waste reduction, smart, sustainable communities, and green workforce and education. And actually, the pictures here are just a little screenshot of the website. So if you actually go on the websites, they have measurements for 3 of the categories so far. And if you go on the targets, then it actually has a detailed design of what they want to accomplish by the year of 2030. And yeah.
The meaning behind that video, we wanted to show the ignorance that people have of the unknowing of this idea of sustainability and this organization of the Aloha Plus Challenge, because before doing the project, we ourselves didn't know what it was, which I'm assuming some of you might not either. So the hardest part of our project was contacting people. We had emailed them and Facebook messaged them and like sent them messages over social media, and not only did they not reply, they read our message and didn't answer. So we were pretty salty. And at that point, we were like at an all-time low, and the project was due soon, and we were like, what are we gonna do? We can't change now. And thankfully, this graduate of Kamehameha, who is a part of the organization, Kiara Kealoha, emailed us back and had actually taken time to come onto campus and to talk to us about what their job was and their goals. And she said that it was perfect timing because they had just hired a bunch of new interns who were focusing on the social aspect of their project. And their target was adolescents, teens of our age. And we would be able to get the attention of younger viewers, which would not only benefit us, but benefit them as well. So our project is, like you saw earlier, basically to create mini PSAs that they're able to use on their site. And at first we wanted to create the social media profiles, but we realized that the school year's ending, and so is the project, and so would the accounts. So they said that they would create the accounts, and if we have videos, then they would be more than willing to post it for us.
So yeah, just future progress on our project. We're hoping that the Hawaii Green Growth can utilize the videos that we've created, and they actually have a big get-together with them and the Aloha Plus Challenge, and they offered a presentation spot for us later, but most of our group isn't going to be here like today, so we probably won't make it, but hopefully they can use our videos. And actually, yeah, and then we also talked with Kyle Caldera, and he offered many good suggestions, and he's willing to share our project on the Kamehameha blog posts and stuff. And yeah.
So lastly, we have a video. This one is longer. It's basically explaining the different point of views on sustainability and how some people, they could care less about it, and how it means the world to other people.
And it also shows how easy it is and how simple it can be. You just gotta be willing to do it. And yeah, enjoy.
Aloha aloha no, aloha kahalia.
It's important, but like, to me, I don't do anything about it, so like, it's not major or like a huge thing.
I am very supportive of it.
So I think sustainability of the earth is good, and then I think people should be supporting it all around the world.
Yeah.
try to recycle, I'm conscious about the plastic. So I have my own bags that I carry to shop, and with the ocean, trying to keep that clean. So, and then the other projects just to support.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you to all who helped, and thank you for all for coming. And that's our presentation. Is there any questions? No.
Third page.
Does it work both ways?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just use this one then.
Yeah, we just use it. You gotta drop the mic, but with spice. Drop the mic. What? Ready.
No, we have no videos.
Can I go over here? Because I don't get good eyes. Picture.
Oh, picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, picture.
Aloha mai kako. Kalamai, please bear with us. I know we're the last group and everyone's tired and wants to go home, but we would appreciate it if you listen to our presentation. So this is our Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha project, and what really is the goal of this project is, of course, to grow our Kamehameha. And I'm Kaiki no Kala Domingo. This is Kona Abrigus, and this is Israel Kon, and behind me is JC Fruto. So I'll have Kona start off by just talking about our planning process.
So just like all the other groups, we first started off with a bug list, and just to kind of just start brainstorming about like what things we wanted to see be changed in our school community. And so one of the big ideas that came up was that we saw like a lot of people were doing like the mala and rain catchment systems, and so we wanted to do a little something different. So an idea that came was that we wanted to instill mindsets of sustainability and aloha aina Mālama Honua into the younger generations. So first we started thinking, oh, maybe we can utilize the mala and the kalo from over there and go to elementary and maybe kui and stuff, and teach them about just the art of ku'ikalo. And then we talked to Amy Brinker and her colleagues, and we were talking to her about it, and we thought maybe that wasn't maybe not like the best idea because like elementary kids, like they don't have like the best like attention span, so maybe talking to them might not be the best idea. So the second idea that came to our minds was to talk to the middle school students. And so yeah, this is the idea that we stuck with throughout our project. And now I have JC talk about the process.
Hello, can you hear me? No? Yeah. So the process, the first step was like planning. So we had to talk with our group and kind of find out what we were going to do. So we found out what we were gonna do. Then we found out what we were gonna do. So we had to go meet with Miss Harbottle and talk to her about what we should teach the middle schoolers and try to see like how long they can be interested into our presentation so they can learn and like be more enthusiastic about this and not litter. And then so we created a pre-survey to see like what they knew before we taught them. So like, yeah, we can get understanding. Then we also created a pre-assignment, which was like to see like, it was to put a picture on a Word document and turn it in. And it was about what do you think sustainability is. So yeah, then we went to middle school to do our project, and we taught the middle schoolers about all of sustainability and Mālama Honua to try to get them into it so they can, like, I don't know, do it as they grow older. I don't know. Then after we created a post survey to see what they learned and if they learned anything in our project. So yeah, they learned a lot though. Now I'm gonna give it over to Puka Shells about putting our plan in action.
So we put our plan into action. So like we knew Kona had like connections down at the middle school, so we like emailed Miss Harbottle, it's a middle school science teacher, and we had like a lot of conversations going back and forth, and eventually we had the chance to talk with her and sit down with her in a meeting, and we went over a lot of stuff. It was pretty good. Yeah, like Kalao will go more into depth about what happened in the meeting. And the pre-survey.
So before we talk about our meeting with Ms. Harbottle, she suggested to us in that meeting to create a pre-survey and a pre-assignment. And the purpose of this, of course, was not only to see what the students already knew, but as Mr. Blake pointed out kind of right to us, was that we need to have a metrics of success in order to measure what our project and how successful it was. And we can't just go down there and teach them and they don't learn nothing, right? So also, we wanted to have a pre-assignment so that we could kind of shape and gear the presentation towards their learning needs, because if they already know something, then we can kind of expand on it and etc. And I'll also talk about right now what Ms. Harbottle kind of talked about. As a middle school teacher, of course, she knows all about her students, and she spent the whole year with them, so she kind of knows all their personalities. And each class was kind of different, so she was very helpful to us. And so one important thing she said was to keep it relevant to what the students are learning in class, so that they're not bored and it's not something completely alien to them. Also to make their presentation interesting and interactive, and we did that by playing a little Kahoot game at the end. They had fun with that. And a really important one for us was to create a list of learning targets and objectives. And not only was that important for the middle schoolers so that they knew exactly what they were going to learn, but in the approval process of going to the middle school curriculum coordinator, she knew exactly what we were going to talk about, so it made it easier for her to understand where we're coming from. And then, of course, what I talked about earlier was the simple assignment before and after. That really helped them to get more interested. And if they weren't paying attention in class during our presentation, they could have done something with the homework. And we actually went to go down to present to the middle schools on May 3rd, and it worked out pretty good. And then I'll have Kona talk a little bit how it went.
Before we talk about that, this is just a picture of another picture of our meeting with Ms. Harbottle. And yeah, so the timeline for the presentation. So pretty much how it went, we went down like right at the beginning of school at like 7:30, and so our blocks was like from like 8 o'clock to 10:30. And how it works down there, there is like 4 30-minute blocks. So pretty much we presented for all those 4 blocks. And how we wanted to plan it out was that about approximately the first 20 minutes or so of the block would be of our presentation and talking with them. And the last 10 minutes would be the fun Kahoot game in which, the person who, pay attention the most will win a prize. And that was really fun. And I'll turn it back to Kala and talk about just the objectives of our presentation at the middle school.
So as I mentioned earlier, one of the big parts of our projects was having a list of objectives so that we knew exactly what we were going to talk about, and the middle schoolers as well knew what they were going to be learning. So I had a few points here that I really thought that was important for them to learn. I didn't want to make it too complicated for them, but I wanted them to learn a lot as well. So first of all, Mālama Honua, something we're all familiar with here in our class. What it means to them. And I also talked to them about the literal definition a little bit on the Hawaiian language part. I also talked about sustainability, what it means to them, what it means to us, and how they can apply it. Another thing I talked about was, a lot of groups mentioned it earlier, is short-term and long-term actions, as well as the consequences to those. And I really wanted to say that because a lot of students, they don't realize what they're doing has repercussions, and I wanted to let them know that there's actions, and just doing small things can make a big change. And leading to that, I also talked about that just learning about it in a classroom isn't enough. You have to go out and take action. You have to do something about it. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. And lastly, is something that Mr. Blake really emphasized in our presentation while he was there, and it was that science doesn't always have to be about worksheets or formulas or anything related to boring, but especially in this class, we've learned a lot that science can be fun, and it's all about observing, asking questions, and later applying those things to your life. And if you see, Kona was flipping through some of the pictures here, saw pictures of us going to middle school that Mr. Blake so gracefully took for us on his camera. And then I'll have Kona talk about the exit pass a little bit.
So during one of the blocks, the 4 blocks that we did, I kind of came up with this idea of having like an exit pass. And so what exit pass is, they do it a lot at the middle school, but pretty much it's like an assignment to exit class and to get out of class. So our idea was for them to write like a 1 to 2 simple like response to our presentation, and just like what they learned and what they got from it. So I'll have JC share one of the students that we thought that were like really good, and we apologize, there like are like typos from that, but we didn't like fix it because we wanted to keep it as like accurate as possible. Yeah.
So one of the students, Jana Naka, wrote, "From this presentation today, I learned what the meaning of Mālama Honua and sustainability really means, and the understanding of the effects of taking care. Taking care of the world itself is the main idea throughout today's class, and facts about the class and high school life."
Okay, and the second one is from Jordan Haumea Torones. She says, "From this presentation, I learned that sustainability is important in our Hawaiian community to ensure that what we have in our lands lasts for future generations, and this class helps to provide a broad source of knowledge about this through hands-on education."
So after the exit pass, we finished up our presentation and we left for the day, and we did a post survey so that we could measure the end result of our project. So we did a survey on Google Docs, Google Forms, and these are some of the statistics. But before I get into that, they also had to submit short response answers, and we were all surprised as a group. We got over 94 responses. We were really happy about that. And the middle schoolers gave really sort of intelligent answers, and we were really appreciative of, and they seemed like they actually learned a lot. So the first statistic here, 45% of the students said 4 out of 5 they're interested in the presentation. 4 out of 5 of the students said 4 out of 5 they learned a lot in the presentation. And another good one that really mattered to us was we asked them, how likely are you to enroll in the Mālama Honua class that we're currently in? So that was another thing that we really talked about with them. We talked about what we do in our class, and we talked about this project and all of you. So 39.4% of them said it sounds interesting and they would really like to take it. And 10% of them said they would do whatever it takes to get into this class. So by this pie chart, we're like, yeah, it's pretty solid. Like we accomplished our goal of inspiring the middle schoolers that they're going to register for the classes soon, and when they're juniors and seniors, they'll be able to take this class, and we'll be able to continue our legacy. And then we're gonna say some final takeaways that we got from our overall experience, as well as from the presentation itself. And I'll have Kona share the first one.
So one of the first takeaways that I think our group got from this project is that that students can be inspired through to be sustainable just in the classroom setting, and it doesn't have to be through Mala. And although those things are great, like just the idea of instilling mindsets of Aloha Aina and Malama Aina into the future generations is really important.
And another takeaway that we all really thought was important was one that I mentioned earlier, that Mr. Blake kind of emphasized, that science isn't always boring. It's about observing, asking questions, then applying later.
Another one is that Mālama Honua can be applicable to our everyday lives, not just in concept.
Another one is it's really important to educate our younger brothers and sisters in order to inspire and raise awareness about these topics in order to create a future generation with this mindset we are trying to instill in them.
And to conclude our project, just wanted to say what a good experience it was. I know our project wasn't really momentous or anything, but we really had a good time going to the middle school and talking to them, and we really felt strongly about sharing to our younger brothers and sisters, and nobody really did that for us when we were in middle school. So it's kind of good, I think, for us to carry on what we're doing in this class, and then one day they'll be up here where we are now. And we just want to conclude with our final mahalos. We like to thank Amy Brinker. When she came to talk to us, she really inspired our ideas to go talk to the younger brothers and sisters. And then Connor would like to mahalo his 8th grade science teacher, you can say.
So, well, Miss Harabata, we invited her, but she's not here. But we'd like to still thank her. And yeah. But we also like to say mahalo to the middle school administration for allowing us to go down and to talk to our younger brothers and sisters, and specifically to Pu'ulu Lama for letting us, come in.
And lastly, we'd like to thank our kumu right here, Mr. Blake, for allowing us to do this awesome project and setting up this symposium for us to share. Mahalo, kumu.
Thank you.
What? 15. All right. Mahalo for everybody who is not a student who stayed for the majority of the time. We really, really appreciate it. Want to mahalo the opportunity to be here and to share with you. If you could, real quick, could you come together and so I can take a picture of the group so we can have at least one more opportunity for us to share for the tens of people who are here. Not yet. Hold on. I stop here. I will though, right now. So before everybody leaves again, please so I can get a picture of everybody who is here real quick together with their parents in the back or right